Hello everyone, my name is Yoko Choi. I'm an artist and I'm also a registered art therapist. My major work focuses in the area of art therapy, and the population I serve includes people with special needs, physical challenges, and people who may be experiencing difficulties in life. Apart from art therapy, I also teach art for students with special needs, conduct art workshops for the community, and also as an artist, I practice my mark making and painting, and also sometimes with performance art. Over the years, UOB has put in a lot of efforts and generosity in bringing art to the community, nurturing local artists, and supporting the art scene by being one of the art patrons in Southeast Asia. This new program, Art as Therapy, really marks a very exciting journey leading to a wider and deeper exploration of art and how art as therapy can empower people in the community and help to bring joy and happiness in our lives. I'm very honored and grateful to be invited by UOB and collaborate in this program. As an art therapist and artist myself, I hope to contribute a small part in this bigger cause by UOB. I hope to share with you some basic concepts and activities of art as therapy and do some demonstrations with easily accessible materials and sustainable process that you can do it at home. And so I really hope that more people can make art and enjoy the therapeutic benefits and happiness and improved well-being from making art. So now I'm going to share with you this art activity, creating homemade paper. So some people also call it DIY paper, make it your own. And the idea of making this homemade paper is that I often think that we have a lot of recycled paper at home or in the office that we have no use, such as, sometimes we have some old magazines or a lot of newspapers or advertising materials. So first of all, we need to prepare our paper, the raw materials for the paper. So basically, we will just tear the paper into small pieces. And you can just put the piece of paper into the blender. Okay, so after you have put in like about 1/3 to half load of the paper pulp, you can pour in some warm to hot water. Slightly, enough to cover the paper, and you can try with the lowest speed first. Remember to cover your blender. So the pulp is forming, and in the middle of the process, you can help to stir a little bit. Because there may be some bigger pieces which cannot go down. And I think we need a bit more water because it doesn't matter if it looks a bit more watery. This mixture will be poured into the container of water, okay? Okay. So almost like this, like paper mache or paper pulp. So after that, I have already prepared some paper pulp to show you. This is how it looks like after you pour these paper pulps into a container of water. So we will just pour this paper pulp inside again. After you pour in the paper pulp, you can use a stirrer to gently stir it and mix it well in the mixture here. If the water temperature is not very hot, you can try to put your hands inside to feel the paper pulp. It is like cotton wool being put in a pond of water, and you can feel the flow of this paper pulp going through your fingers. This process itself is to engage your body, and you may also find it relaxing to put your hands inside. And next we are going to make that frame, which will become the base for your paper. Clip this
cloth tightly onto the frame. Pull it tightly, and I'll clip onto the other side. Don't worry if the first few clips are not tight enough. You can come back to adjust the tightness after the fabric is fixed into place. And I'll add more clips here. Yeah, so this is the tightness, which is good. So now you have a frame that you can go into this container of paper pulp and create your paper. Before that, I would like to let you know, in fact, in traditional paper making, there will be another frame here, so to define the edges of your new form paper. However, I think that sometimes the edges can be a bit loose, so that your new form paper would have like more natural edges instead of a very sharp edges. Okay, so now you're ready to go. So you just put your frame into the water, and then you can slightly give a shake of your frame so that it will hold, about the same amount of pulp on top of it to make sure the amount of pulp is evenly spread out. And when you're ready, you can raise this frame. Okay, so now you can see the effect of, these edges, right? So imagine these are the edges, so you just need to freely, creatively, create your edges of your paper. So this is the in-progress product of your handmade paper, and you can see that the water is still dripping a little bit, and you can just let it air dry. Then it's done. We just have to wait for it to dry, and then we'll peel it off from the fabric, and then we'll have a new piece of paper. This process is therapeutic and quite soothing while you are getting in touch with the tearing of the paper, thinking about the life of the paper is being regenerated into a new one, and also getting in touch with this paper pulp, thinking about the origin of where paper comes from.
Art therapy is a profession adjunct to psychotherapy. In the practice of art therapy, the art therapists facilitate the process for self-expression and communication using visual means such as images, storytelling, and also the art-making process with the art maker. In art therapy, the art therapist journeys with an individual or a group towards self-expression, self-reflection, and making meanings and sense of their life experiences. The art creator or the art maker in art therapy can use art as an outlet to express their feelings or thoughts during the art making process, and also engage in a verbal communication with the art therapist. Art therapy is practiced in a wide range of settings, including hospitals, psychiatric, schools, homes, shelters, community settings, private, corporate, and many other clinical settings. Art therapy helps improve our psychological, emotional, and mental well-being. Art therapy is provided by a credentialed or registered art therapist who has gone through vigorous academic and clinical training. An art therapist is abide by professional and ethical guidelines by accredited professional affiliations. In the practice of art therapy, an art therapist provides a safe and non-judgmental space for the clients to express themselves safely and freely. Art therapy can be conducted for individuals in a one-to-one session, and we call it individual art therapy. Art therapy can also be conducted for groups, and we call it group art therapy. So the meaning of art as therapy refers to the creative process itself, whether it's drawing, painting, or making an art form. The creator can enjoy the therapeutic benefits of making art. Sometimes it can be relaxation, sometimes it can be stress relief, sometimes it can be self-understanding by looking at the image or creations he created.
After we have made some handmade paper, now we are going to use these papers to form a book or a journal. What I'm going to share with you is this traditional method of making a handmade book using threads and sewing method. You can prepare a sewing needle, choices of the colors of the thread, and then you will basically stack the pieces of paper together, okay, so that the center line will be aligned. And then make sure you have made a knot at the end of the thread. And then you can start sewing. So I'll put my needle in. Yeah. So again, and it is also your choice how wide are the stitches and how much they are separated from each other. So you have the decision how you're going to make this book. And of course, in the process, you can also do some patterns. You can observe the uneven and very natural stitches that you created. At last, if you are satisfied, you can make a knot. Then you can just cut it off. Okay. Yeah. So it becomes your own journal with the color thread that you like. Many books that you can collect outside, right? They are made by this method. When you look at them, they are made into chapters. So each chapter is just like one of these little booklet, and when you're making a few chapters, you can make it into a thicker series or bigger series of a book, and you can also use a cover to cover these small chapters of books. So for instance, if you have made one chapter, then you can do another chapters cover the same size or slightly bigger to cover this. And for this cover of the book, you can just use double-sided tape to tape it at the back cover and leave the front cover loose. So when you open these, it becomes small chapters of small booklets inside. And there's also another way to make a book. So imagine you have pieces of paper made, put them together. And you don't need to use the sewing method also. So what you need to do is to cut this cover a little bit on both sides. And then you can put this stack of paper on top of it. And then you can use a thread to tie these loose pages together. And again, depending on where you want this knot to be shown, so you can leave it inside at the middle pages or leave it outside at the cover. So in this way, you can always extend the number of pages for your book, and you have your personalized book. The difference between art as therapy and art therapy, I would say that there are two main points. The first point is the relationship between the art maker and the art or art making process. In art as therapy, the relationship between the art maker is one way. The relationship is always between the art maker and the artwork or the art making process. Whereas in art therapy, there's this relationship between the art therapist, the artwork or the art making process, and the creator. So we call it as a triangular relationship. In art therapy and art as therapy, the visual processes are not limited to only traditional means such as drawing or painting. The range of materials or mediums used are also not limited to art or fine art materials. A wide range of materials such as magazines, books, clay, household items, found objects, personal objects, crafts, photographs, writings, recycled materials, or anything that one can imagine can be used. In both practices, there is no requirement of artistic skills or talents from the creator. Also, it is not necessary to have a fixed or required outcome. The art-making activity involves multisensory materials and physical activity, like holding a brush, a block of clay, touching the materials. The sensations felt in our body helps us to be mindful in the present moment and be more aware to our feelings and inner emotions. This awareness helps us to reflect on our living experiences and gain insights about our life. The art-making activity is a creative pursuit to our creative soul. The field of art therapy has discovered that expressive art making has a powerful source of personal transformation, leading to emotional and spiritual healing. A pioneer expressive arts therapist, Sean McLeaf, reflects on the traditional healing function of a wide range of creative art activities. He highlights that the practice of imagination is a powerful source for transformation. He also says that the role of the art therapist promotes an environment conducive for liberty and therapeutic energies. Creating art is like being in a meditative state. The moment we hold the brush and the moment we put the brush onto a piece of paper, starting to make a mark on the paper, help us to be grounded in the present moment. Be mindful and observe what's happening around us. This heightened awareness helps us to register our feelings and emotions, and this awareness helps us to gain clarity of our life experiences or the surroundings around us. So we talk about art making is a creative pursuit to connect to our creative soul. This activity is called writing a letter to our soul. Some people call it soulmate, which refers to a friend or somebody who is very dear to your heart and who seems to understand you a lot. So, is there a soulmate in your heart, inside within you? How would you talk to yourself? And how would you send a message to your soul? This may sound a little bit abstract, or this may sound a little strange. How do I write a letter to myself? Yes, indeed. How often do we really take care of ourselves and take care of how we feel and how are we doing today? What would you say to yourself? So try to write in the present tense using I with your dominant hand, so you can start to write, "Dear self, I would like to say a few words to you today." Then you continue with this exercise and make it into your journal entry. Maybe tomorrow or someday later you come back and you can make another response and reply to this letter. This has come to the end of today's session. To summarize, we have explored definitions and some key differences and similarities of art therapy and art as therapy, art therapy for body, mind, and soul. And we have also shared some basic techniques of making handmade paper from home, creating an eco-friendly book which can be used as an art journal, and journals ideas, a letter to my soul. So I hope you enjoyed the session. Have fun creating and see you next time.